Hey, church family, we're just coming out of the afterglow of our annual vision celebration, and we are just rejoicing in all that God did last year. Renew All finished up with a $2.6 million renovation of everything, and all that we've seen happen caused us to move now into a brand new year. And in January, saw more people saved than we have in the last few years. It's like 2022 has not just started, but it has leapt out of the blocks like a racehorse that finally the doors swung open. And it's an exciting year already. Now we're moving from Renew All to first things first. I heard it so clearly. First things belong to me, Ron. First things. Call the house, call our campuses, call them all, call everyone to the obedient response, the faith response to Matthew 6:33. Pursue the kingdom of God. We know it like this. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, that He'll add all other things unto us. So pursuit is proof you've not been conquered. And pursuit is proof that you have passion for something. So we're going after God, and we're doing it with every way we can. And when I mean first things first, I'm primarily speaking about worship, prayer, and giving. Worship, this coming Sunday's first Sunday. And because of the life and all the different things, people are attending in different ways. Let's call as many people as possible in the first Sunday of every month. That be the big Sunday where we're all gathered in the house. First Sunday, first things first. Not only that, it's important. It's very obvious to me when months ago the Lord would say, do the prayer model in January. Prayer model I've lived by. I always know how long it is because it's a year older than my oldest daughter. And she would not like me to tell you that, but it's a few years old now. But from that moment, I learned a prayer model that stayed with me for these many years, BC years, before children for Phyllis and I. And it all is wrapped around live, give, forgive, and deliver. If you haven't received that now, you should receive it in a letter, or you also should receive it in a teaching that was done in January. We got into February, and the first thing we did was have a men's conference, and our speaker, not knowing anything about what we had just done, first thing out of his mouth is, gentlemen, my life has been changed by a prayer model that I learned many years ago. I've reduced it down to these 4 words. Live. God, help us to live your kingdom first. Give us the strength and the grace to do that. Help us, oh God, to forgive and be forgiven, and deliver us from the darkness. So first things first include our worship, our praying, and our giving. I just finished that series. You know I'm committed to this. I've seen it clearly. See, in the Old Testament, there are 3 things that are very evident. That God established the law of first things, the law of the firstborn, and the tithe. Israel's whole year was wrapped around those things. It was their proof that God was Lord of their nation and that He was leading them. Proverbs verses 9 and 10. Honor the Lord with what? The first fruits of all your increase. And what I like about this, it says, your barns will be plenty, which for us, that means God will give you more than enough to do the will of God. That's my definition of prosperity. It's not necessarily having symbols to out-succeed anybody else. It's having enough and more than enough, because He's a God of more than enough to do His will. And He says this, and your cup will overflow. When I think about that, I think about every morning with my dad. He worked on his coffee in his saucer until it overflowed into his saucer. And when he was done, he always brought the overflow saucer up, and I can hear him in that moment drinking that in that moment. And I just thank God for how that must have felt to him and how it feels to you and I when we're living in the overflow. I believe that we're going to live as a church on that too. We're going to live on the principle that 10% belongs to God. We're given 178 missionary families support out of the tithe of the tithe, and we are operating this church on the 90% of the tithe, just like you operate in your lives. We're doing the very same thing, and God is blessing us and bringing great strength to us. There's a call on this year, first things first. Here's what I believe. I believe it's preparation for the greatest harvest that we've ever seen. I believe it's going to be something very, very special that He does in us, when He transforms us, He's going to transform this community. Come on, let's take the city. Let's take the counties. Let's take this region. Let's take what we believe is our Jerusalem, Judea, and the uttermost parts of the earth, because we are going to first things first.